What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We've made it up to our property. This is kind of the first trip up here staying. We've come up a couple times just to check the road and to bring some of the stuff up. I brought my mini up and my gooseneck, a bunch of water, things like that. But this is the first time up here staying after the winter. So when I bought this property, there was nothing up here. This was all this stuff that you see that's cleared out over in here. All this looked like this. It was all overgrown. There's a little 2-track path that came up into the property, and that was the only way to get up in here. I bought this thing, cleared out this whole area that's up in here, kind of built this entrance right here. I know it's a little overgrown right now from springtime, but I built this entrance, put up these gates, we did some fencing. I pushed all this dirt down and kind of made a big wide swing down there so that I can swing wide with my trailers coming in or out, give me a little bit more room. But this property is just a work in progress. We're trying to make it nice. Eventually we'll build a cabin up here, and we're slowly every summer doing more to make it better. Spent a week up here by myself clearing out that whole area so you could get more than a tent up here, and got it all cleared out, cut up all the trees and everything that I cleared out. First thing that I did after I cleared all this out was build an outhouse. Now, when I bought this property, the only thing that was on this property was a shed that was all rickety and broke down, and an old outhouse that were way down the hill, stuffed back in the bushes. I don't know how they got them there. So I figured, hey, maybe I can salvage those, maybe I can reuse them, rebuild them, make it better. So I picked up that outhouse with my mini, brought it up here, drug the shed up the road. I don't know if I have pictures I can throw in and show you guys. I drug that shed up the road and let it sit up here for the winter. And then the next spring, I went to rebuild. Well, the outhouse ended up being a little too far gone, so I ended up just rebuilding the whole thing. The shed, this is the shed I came up with. I used a lot of the lumber that I had from the old shed to build this one. Obviously it's got new siding and roofing and everything like that. There's a lot of new that went into it, but I did reuse a bunch of stuff. Same with the outhouse, like that door on the outhouse, that's wood from the original outhouse. I built it, no plans, no nothing, just kind of threw it together, winging it. I tried to use a bunch of the old wood. You can see some of this wood doesn't look the best, you know, it's been weathered and stuff. All of this stuff was on the exterior of the other outhouse. That floor, that was all on the exterior, and then I had to buy some more to just kind of line the inside so it wasn't just studs. Put new siding on the outside, a new roof, stuff like that. And then my daughter had to have the moon in the door. So she drew that on a paper plate and I cut that out. I put a little piece of plastic up top for a little natural light in there. But this is the outhouse I came up with. And it was perfect, right within walking distance of the area that I cleared out when I did that. We're now 4 or 5 years later, and this area served its purpose at the time, but now I've cleared out a whole nother area where eventually we want to build a cabin, and that's back over there. I have my trailer and stuff over there right now, so that is quite a walk. If you need to use the outhouse to go from there over to here, especially for girls at nighttime. She's not liking that it's way over here, so today we're going to move it over here a little bit closer. So I think I've got a spot. I'm going to kind of get it leveled out, see how the digging is, dig a hole, and see if we can't pick up that outhouse and move it over here by where my mini is. One of the things that I want is that it's kind of tucked in the trees, so it's not sitting baking in the sun all day. Nothing worse than getting in a hot outhouse, having it stink, stuff like that. So I'll show you the spot that I kind of found. So this is kind of the spot that we picked to put the outhouse. It's within walking distance. It's a lot closer. It'll be out of the way because eventually we do want to build a cabin here at some point. That's the view off the hill, so that's why we want to build a cabin here. But I think over here, out of the way, will be a good spot for it, within walking distance, and keep it nice and close. So here's where we're at. I got that rigged up, rod over here. It's sitting right at the back of my hole that I dug. Yet I still got a big gap in the front. I can avoid this by hand digging the hole, which I'm not gonna do in this rocky soil. And the bucket that I got on my Mini is just too big to make this thing a nice hole.
That's what she said.
When I built this originally over in the other spot, I dug it with the Mini also, but then I kind of formed it up with wood down in there and backfilled around it so it would hold the dirt and just be kind of a straight shot. I could probably get around this if I had an auger or something that I could just dig a straight hole or throw a sonotube in there and backfill it, but I don't want to have to move this every couple years, and I'm definitely not going to hand dig it. So what I think I'm going to do is have my kid that's coming up today stop by the hardware store and pick up some pressure treated lumber and kind of build a base for this thing that goes around the whole thing, that spans wider than it and longer than it, so it'll cover up this hole, and we'll have kind of just a step up to get into the outhouse. That way I can make this thing work wherever I put it. If I have to move it in the future, I can make this thing work and set it wherever I need to for whatever size hole I have. Now, don't ask me how deep I did this. This isn't a how-to. I just dug it deep enough so in 4 years when a guy's in there doing his business, he's not getting any stank on his hang down, if you know what I mean. So I think that's the direction I'm gonna go. I'm gonna measure this up really quick, give my kid a list of stuff that I need him to grab, and he can bring it up when he comes, and I can slap together a little base for this, and we'll get going on that once he shows up. All right, so here's where I got to. I got that base kind of framed out, sitting up a little bit higher. We got it all leveled out around the back and on the sides. We're just gonna fill in some dirt around, and then I'm gonna come through, put some braces in here on the front, and pretty much build a deck around this whole thing. We got this thing pretty leveled up. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty level. I wanted the seat level. I didn't care about anything else, because that's where you're going to notice if it's unlevel. So I'm going to grab some lunch really quick, then I'm going to get going on building the deck around this thing. So here's where we got to. I got this whole front deck done. I did notch around the sides right there so that it kind of sit flush in there. One thing, this door does rub a little bit down here on the bottom, so I'll have to mess with that a little more, but it's not bad. It opens about 90% of the way. This thing only opens to a 90-degree anyways. When I concocted this thing in my head, I wasn't thinking about lumber dimensions. I was thinking about what does my lady want. So that's how I started building it. I did have to use two 2x4s right here on the front instead of a 2x6, which isn't a big deal. And then on the back, I am going to trim those 4x4s off a little bit so I can fit two 2x6s on there and not have to splice together a small piece on the sides. I'm just going to run two 2x6s and call it good. There will be about a 1/2 inch showing of the 4x4, which isn't a big deal. I'm not building a piano. I'm just trying to make it nicer than it was and be able to put it in a variety of different places if we have to move it in the future. So I'm going to get going, blocking this up, get this back half all done. I will have to move that downspout for the rain gutter, and then I'll do the sides last. The reason I put a rain gutter on this, and it's white, doesn't even match. I didn't want the water running off in the winter time and causing our hole to collapse back here. You know, just a bunch of water and then collapsing the hole. So I threw this rain gutter on, and then I have a hose that kicks this water out of the way so it doesn't flood the back of this thing and cave that hole in. But I'm gonna get going on this back side. Hopefully I can get this done and get the sides done and get this thing wrapped up today. Just like that, we are all done. Got the whole base of that thing built out. I think that looks pretty good. On the sides, I did run 2 pieces short of the 2x6, so I just kind of took some scraps, spliced them together, and I may, when I have my little table saw up here next time, come through and trim that off so it's nice and flush, or may even get 2 new ones and do a full piece there. But I think that turned out pretty good. It looks pretty good. Covers up any hole that I'm going to dig with that Mini. It's got a nice step you can step up into. Keeps it up off the ground a little bit more, but I think that turned out good. I did have to modify my rain gutter on the back. That downspout was a little too low, so I just trimmed it up and then put the drain pipe running off down the hill. I think I'm going to fill back here in with some more dirt, kind of fill it up a little more, and around the side. Then a future project, I was thinking right here off the side, I could do kind of a hand wash station with a jug of water, kind of gravity fed to a faucet where you can wash your hands that drains off down into the bushes, because we are off grid here. There's no running water, no electricity, no nothing. So I think I may do that in the future. That might be a nice little feature, kind of add onto this little deck and do kind of a hand wash station. But that turned out pretty good. It was nice to have the Mini that I was able to move that thing. And then I will also have to address that door grabbing on the bottom. I may just put a little bit more bracing or a cable inside and kind of suck that door up. That's not too bad for a day's project. I think it turned out pretty good. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see you guys next time.